Citizens of the free world, I am of a man God, defender of justice, defender of the people, defender of the earth. In wake of the recent terrorist shooting, an innocent dark-skinned man who was protecting his family, his lady and 5-year-old child in Clearwater, Florida. You heard of it. From a terrorist by the name of Michael Draker, who at first was not even charged with killing an innocent man. By the actions that was displayed and seemed to be immoral, dishonorable, shameful, deplorable, an unthinkable stance that the county sheriff department, their leader, and the prosecuting team refused to even take charges against Michael Draker, has given terrorists and those who want to bring harm to other individuals because of their hatred, has emboldened many throughout Florida to commit terrorist attacks, to threaten, bring harm, and even take laws into their own hands, giving them more authority than any police officer in the state of Florida, is what they did. And so recently they finally came with a charge against Michael Draker that does not even represent the actions that he committed, but that's another story for another day. They're charging him now with manslaughter, which is incorrect, but I will not deal with that now. What I want to talk to you about today is what I saw on social media of another incident now in Orlando, Florida, of another white male who appears to be full of anger and has shown signs of terrorism, as did Michael Draker. This man in Orlando, Florida, invaded the privacy and the space of another dark-skinned female who was pregnant, approached her just like Michael Draker did in Clearwater, Florida, and his terroristic tendencies was in full display in this man in Orlando, Florida. He invaded that lady's space, threatened her and approached her, violated her rights. And thankfully, there was a witness who was alerted and could not stand by and watch. He approached and got between the terrorist and the victim, who was the lady pregnant. And I want you to listen to what was being said, and I'm going to break it down, explain to you what's going on. So listen and I'll be back.
You heard heard what the fuck I said? I said you let me back the fuck up. That's the woman. And you's a motherfucking man. Now what you gonna do? Go the fuck off. Go the fuck off. Go the fuck off.
Well, now as you can now hear, you can see that the dark-skinned male witness came to confront this terrorist who was attacking the pregnant woman. And in the midst of him coming in between, literally had to come between her and this terrorist in defense of this pregnant, innocent woman who's the victim in this situation, is trying to get this terrorist away from this pregnant woman. And in response of talking to this terrorist now threatens the witness. And as you can see, this is being escalated. And who causes this confrontation? A terrorist always causes confrontations that can lead to deadly results. But luckily in this situation, it was handled correctly enough that that terrorist did not take a life-threatening situation where someone ends up dead. You will see why. Continue to listen and I'll be back.
You were about to hear.
I don't care what. I don't give a fuck. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You can hear the witness indicating that that terrorist was threatening him, threatening the situation, escalating the situation to a level that was very dangerous. And what you're getting ready to hear more of is this terrorist was beginning to show violent aggression physically, along with his verbal assaults that will bring this situation to a whole nother level that he will regret to have. Listen.
Hey, put your motherfucking hands on me. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care who you call. Call the cops. Call the cops. Yes,
I hope you don't record all of it because I'm here for it.
that's right. I'm a pregnant woman. You got up all in my face. We got this lady filming.
If you were paying attention, you would hear the lady who was video recording indicating and saw from the beginning. She's a key witness. And if you, law enforcement there, will do your job correctly, which I hope you will do, is that you will find out how to get a hold of this key witness who was video recording and saw everything from the beginning. This is what you call investigative work 101. Someone needs to get a hold of her, and I'm sure she won't be hard to find. And she indicates that she saw from the beginning that this terrorist was so close to this female victim who was pregnant that she thought that that terrorist was going to assault the female who was pregnant. That's very key in this whole ordeal that happened in that parking lot. Listen to the rest to the conclusion, and I'll wrap this up.
Let me get my
Put your
shit.
hands up. Go ahead.
a check that his ass could not cash.
Well, as you now can see from the beginning to the end, this terrorist had enough sense and had no other choice but to call the police. And in his mind, this is the problem. Terrorists like that know that most of them, when they do things that is not just, criminal, wicked and evil, try to use and manipulate the law to work in their favor with law enforcement. He threatens the pregnant woman. He threatens the witness. He assaults now, not just verbally, went from verbal to physical assault on the witness, punching the witness in the stomach area. The witness, in response, he didn't stand his ground by shooting him, even though he could have, because he had that weapon on him just in case, to let that terrorist know that he was going to protect himself and that victim who is pregnant. And because of it, that terrorist, instead of doing anything else, he assaulted him physically. And this was a dangerous situation because the witness did not know what this terrorist had on him. And it was brave of this witness to come to the aid of that pregnant woman. This was dangerous and could have ended up with a life being taken. But this witness, the man, should be awarded, recognized by the law enforcement agency there in Orlando, Florida, for the deed he did for that pregnant woman. And he was clear enough, had a clear conscience in the mind, not to kill that man who assaulted him, because surely this was another stand your ground law. But I know and you know that that man would be locked up if he would have shot that terrorist. But he didn't do that, thankfully. There was no need to do that. When he was struck by this terrorist, he struck him back out of defense for himself. And that terrorist backed up and threatened to call the police, which he should have done in the first place. Instead of approaching a pregnant woman, he should have called the police if he had a problem with that pregnant woman. The environment that we are living in, and those specifically in the Florida area, I do hope the law enforcement agencies there would pay attention and put just laws in place and do what is necessary to make up lost ground over the years of your dysfunction, and bring charges and arrests to those who choose to violate the law due to hatred, due to the terrorist nature of believing that practicing white supremacy or any other hate practices is unjust, immoral, in no place in America or the world. You listening to me, you citizens of this free world, you must stand up against all evil, all crime, and all injustice wherever it may be, and unite with me, and let us rid the globe of crime and injustice. Over.